And welcome to Championship Chatter here on Pitch Football on both the app and the YouTube channel. My name is Johnny.
And I'm Jonno.
And let's have a look what we've got coming up today.
We've got the standout results.
Another edition of Johnny versus Jonno.
A look ahead to this weekend's action.
The weekly awards.
And we've got more.
I said that with such enthusiasm. We've got more. Standout results, jumping straight into it. We might as well have some home bias, being Blades fans ourselves. Sheffield United 0, Bournemouth 0. What is there to say?
Should have took us chances. Simple as. Bournemouth. Relegation fodder. They were nothing sparkling with Bournemouth.
I was thinking top two. I've not quite fathomed this yet.
Obviously, it's one of their worst games, I'd imagine. They didn't look impressive, and United should have won, but we didn't, and cost us. They
were everything that their fans pre-game were telling me they were going to be. Uninspiring, cloggy at times. They'll have an odd breakaway, but they're not picking the best players they've got available.
They've not changed either from Premier League days when they're rolling all over the floor.
Yeah.
Every tackle that went in, they're on the floor.
Well, Billing, do you see
it was
when
just such an hard game just to flow.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't flow at all.
And what didn't help that at all was the referee in that game.
No, it probably just bought into anything that they were doing.
It bought into everything except a stonewall fucking penalty for Sheffield United.
Yeah, well, big miss that one. But it weren't just for the Bournemouth player as well. Every time a United player went down, he blew.
Yeah.
And it was just
there were times when
the game flow.
There were times when the Blades had the ball. A player got knocked down, but it came to one of our players. Play an advantage. It didn't, did it?
No.
It pulled everything up. We would have.
He liked the sound that whistled, didn't he?
Well, somebody shoves it up his ass. I mean, another result. Middlesbrough 0, Hull 1.
That's a shocker, that one, isn't it?
That is bad.
For other playoff contenders, it's not a bad result, you know. So well done, Hull. Thank you for that.
We said between Middlesbrough and Forest, one of them were going to start faltering.
Yeah, they've had a lot of games, like you said, in Cup run, and it seems to be affecting Middlesbrough a lot more than Forest.
I think Middlesbrough have got a thinner squad, talent-wise, than Forest have. They're not a team of superstars, Forest, but they've got more quality in abundance in different areas, whereas Middlesbrough have got one or two quality players littered into a very average Warnock-esque side, aren't they? I'm
sure that's what Wilder will be getting through to board at some point.
Yeah, a lot of their team is very Warnocky in it.
Yeah, it's a big change from a Warnock-style football to Chris Wilder's kind of football. Is a lot more direct. Neil Warnock's kind of tactics. So yeah, it'll take him time.
This one was a big result, an absolutely huge one, and that is Fulham 1, Wasps 3.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get some race stick for that.
I don't care. But Fulham keep doing this. They know they're home and dry, and then just like I was saying about Peterborough last week, they live to fuck up my bets. That's all they're doing. That is their goal in life now. We've won title, we've won leading scorer, you know, we're pissing league. So what's left to achieve? Let's piss Johnny off by fucking up his bets.
Going back Sunday matches.
I thought it was a sure thing, all right? Fulham, look at what they're doing this season. Apart from us at their place, they're running ragged over teams. And then as good as Coventry can be at times, nobody expected that.
It's similar to when they played us. They absolutely battered us 4-1. And it's just it's one of them results that you don't expect coming. But as a Coventry fan, they're not too shocked about the results that come up. They all say they deserve to hammer certain teams, and they've done it against the best at the moment.
Well, let's be fair, Wasps fans aren't shocked by anything on it because they seem to think they're Barcelona, which they are not. They are a decent team that play some decent football. The league position don't lie. They're very inconsistent and they're not as good as they think they are. But if they keep getting results like that, they won't give two monkeys what I say.
Definitely not.
Nottingham Forest 2, Birmingham 0.
2 points closer to that second spot.
They are rolling on it. They are, like you predicted, they are the team that is just rolling game by game and getting better and better, aren't they?
It's a long mammoth task for them to do it, and they've got to Bournemouth slip up. I mean, they are doing but they're getting a good fight on, they want that second spot.
Another team that desperately wants that second spot, as proven in the big game for, I suppose, the fight for second and the fight for the shape of the playoffs. Because these are two teams that could have theoretically still got second. Huddersfield 2, Luton 0, and I think that knocks Luton out of that picture.
Yeah, out of the two, Huddersfield were more favourite to finish that second spot if Bournemouth were going to get caught by anybody. Another very good result. They're not a sparkling team to watch, I will admit. They aren't, and
they know how to win games.
Yeah, looking at the display, you wouldn't think that they're third in league.
No, definitely not.
I mean, that's no offence. I mean, you're up there for a reason, and you've been very consistent, and also under radar as well. Everybody's expecting them to fall off. Everyone. I'm so sorry. I imagine us as Phil fans can't believe they're still up there.
They're not a glittering football side. They do play some nice football. They're not just all hoofball, but they know when to be strong. They know when to be dirty. They know when to play act, and they know when to attack and when to just stand off. They know what they're doing. They've got a game plan for every team in every situation, and that is what's doing them well.
Credit to manager for that.
100%. He knows how to cleverly work each game, and that's what you want in a division like this, isn't it?
Of course, that's what you need.
Yeah. Oh, it's not done too much damage to what the table looks like, but we are starting to see a picture painting now where we've got 3 teams chasing for second instead of 4, and now the playoffs are starting to. Some are drifting away. Your Blackburns, your QPRs, still theoretically could go into your West Broms. Still theoretically could get into it.
There is other teams coming up. I mean, look at Millwall now.
Oh God, yeah. They do this. Every season. They go on a late run.
2 months earlier, they'd have been in playoffs.
Yeah, of course they will. Like you said last week, though, if West Brom sneak into it, they've got to be considered favourites.
They didn't know.
Good old Steve Bruce never lets us down, does he?
Oh dear. Just when they thought they were getting a bit of momentum.
Just when you thought you were safe. You know what it's time for? It's time for Johnny versus
Jonno.
For Johnny versus Jonno this week, there's been some stories in the news about introducing some new rules. Having a certain amount of academy prospects in the matchday squad as a minimum. So, as though it's only rumours at this point, I thought we'd jump on this. So let's presume that the rule is you've got to have 2 academy players in your matchday squad. And by academy player, they can be brought in from another academy, as long as they've been in your academy for 2 years. So you don't have to have had them as like a 6-year-old. They could have been brought in from another academy, or an older player an older youngster that you brought in and then put in your academy. But they've got to be in there 2 years, and there's going to be 2 of them in the matchday squad. Are you for or against this?
Definitely for, and this should have happened years ago for me.
Really?
Absolutely years ago. The Premier League, look at it, it's just been overrun by overseas players.
You see, this is why I'm against it. And we'll go into some deep reasons, but one of the things is, it'd benefit the Premier League more than it would benefit the EFL.
Well, the Premier League's biggest league in the world. That's what you want your youngsters to be playing in.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. I don't think it should be put in, crammed down our throats if it's not going to be crammed down the Premier League.
I don't think it'd be too much of a problem for player teams in the EFL. They've all got homegrown players in them. But
then you have to start forcing them in. Right.
If they're not good enough, they're not going to be in your starting lineup.
But what if you have to force something? What if you've got none? Right, anyway, let's get into this.
You've got a bad academy.
We're arguing all those points over and over. What's your first point for it?
It's pure experience for the youngsters.
Yeah.
How much experience are they going to be in a Man City squad?
True.
Just playing alongside players like Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, look.
But we're not talking about the Premier League. We're talking about the EFL.
It's same as EFL. So a youngster playing at the side of Billy Sharp.
We have.
Well, no, because Jebison Narrate is one of our youngsters. He's come in since Billy Sharp's been injured, so he's not had that experience with him. And it's worked for him.
Yeah, it has. But then look at the side of the table at a minute. Derby are having to use their academy players, and look how well it's working for them.
But that's more than 2.
That is.
And don't forget, in the squad doesn't mean that they've got to be in their first 11. They could be on the bench.
I understand that. So where do you squeeze them in? Do you always make sure you've got an academy goalkeeper on the bench?
Well, possibly. I mean, that's a bit of an easy one, though.
It is. But that's one place where you can do it, where you save some more outfield players. But then you could end up throwing like a 17-year-old at net in a massive game when the other keeper's injured instead of having an experienced keeper. Do you look at, like, if you have to, we can have. This comes to my argument is, in the Premier League, maybe, because they can use 5 subs now for 1.
Well, they can, yeah. And if they have to do this academy one, they'll probably allow 9 subs on bench and all. They'll make up a rule for something like that.
In the EFL, we've got 7 slots, and we're only allowed to make 3 substitutions. Out of those 5 players, we don't have the depth of quality that a Premier League team has. Some Championship teams don't have the depth of quality other Championship teams have. So, whilst for Sheffield United, Fulham, some of these teams towards the top, it's a benefit because you can pick, realistically, 3 very good players. But then you've got to force in 2 academy players. And our academy players are going to be better than, say, a Peterborough. How's it fair on Peterborough that they've got to force 2 academy players in?
I think it's easily done. At the beginning of the season, the size of our squad, with injuries that we had, we couldn't fill the bench. And we were crying out for youngsters just to be put on bench. Just just for that experience. I don't think it's going to harm any, especially EFL clubs, to put a youngster on bench or something, or even start one.
I just think it's unfair to force EFL clubs to cram 2 academy players in there when you've got squads that, one, some may not have academy players that are up to first team level, and you're having to shoehorn them in.
How are they going to get up to first team level if you don't give them a chance?
But this is the thing. But also,
you don't know that if they're in that until they're. But
you'd like to think if they were good enough, they'd be called up anyway, like a lot of them are. Whereas if you're having to shoehorn them in because you have to hit a set target, a quarter, if you will, then it's not really fair.
I hear what you're saying, and I just think they get more of a chance if they have to put them in. Otherwise, they could be waiting ages to get put in first team. If they've got a winning side, or managers have their favourite teams, don't they? Yeah. And they're just not going to change, and youngsters not going to get a look in.
What's your second point, Jonno?
Just basically, it's nice to see your homegrown talent on pitch for you and to see where they go.
Yeah.
I mean, Sheffield United, not being biased, but we've got one of the best academies. Look at our players that's moved up into Premier League at England.
Yeah.
I think we had about 5 players at one point playing for England, all from our academy, who played in our academy, and it's lovely to see.
Yeah, it is. I do. That is a point where I will be hard. I can't argue on that one. The other one I can argue with, this one I can't. It is a very good point. My next point against is, I don't want to cop out too much, it is quite similar to the first one, but it's different in another way. If you're allowed to pick 5 people to go on your bench and you have to force in 2 academy players, is that not unfair on players that are in the reserve teams that are you signed, that are waiting for their chance in the first team, that now can't get onto the bench because you have to shoehorn? So, for instance, we've got Wes Fotheringham.
Yeah.
We signed this kid from Bristol City, and he's sat patiently waiting for Wes to either get injured or for a run in the first team, from wherever it may come from. He could very well become one of the victims of, well, we can't really put you on the bench because we need to shoehorn an academy player in.
Oh, fair enough, but if Wes Fotheringham gets injured, you put him in, and then you still got your academy player on bench.
It is, but
he's waiting for him to get injured, and if he does get injured or sent off,
but he's not going to come on.
He's got his spot there.
He's not going to come in on that game, though, is he? Because he's not on the bench.
Well, he's waiting for him to get injured.
I don't know. It just seems very unfair on players that have been sat waiting patiently, if that makes sense.
Like youngsters.
Yeah, no, it is, but I can.
Their ambition is to get into the first team.
It is, but they've not made any kind of impact where there's players that are brought in specifically to be rotation players. Now, would it make it fairer if you had to use more academy players and rotation players up and down the leagues? Of course it would, but that's never going to happen. Never. You'd have to make it so all the subs had to be academy players for that to be a thing.
Yeah.
And again, we're not forcing this in the Premier League. And I think any rules that come into the EFL should be forced on the Premier League as well.
Definitely.
Until that, if it happened where it had to be done in the Premier League as well, I'd be on your side.
It should start with Premier League, and if it works for Premier League, then it should be brought down to EFL. I'll give you that, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely Premier League should be doing that.
If this was rumoured to be happening in the Premier League as well as the EFL, I'd be jumping across to your side and be with you on this. Yeah. My third point. This one's a bit petty. That's one
of mine then, really.
This one's really petty. It's going to lead to a lot more clubs having to lose quality young players to bigger teams in the Premier League, who will then do fuck all with them and loan them out to some Dutch side.
That's not petty, that's quite a good argument.
That's what it's going to lead to.
That one, yeah,
we have to start putting 2 youngsters on the bench. They're going to get favourites, which 2 youngsters it is, aren't they? So it could be a striker that's always on there and a goalkeeper, let's say. And they're the ones that are on there because they're the ones that they can fit in there without moving the harmony of the team. If that striker comes on and bags a few goals, like even if it's 2 in 3 games, and then don't play for the rest of the season, you know what Chelsea and stuff like that, well, not so much Chelsea, but you know what a lot of these teams are like, oh, he scored 2 in 3. Yeah. Sign him, take him away from your club, right, go and play for Werder Bremen for a week.
On to that, let's just come to it. Academy players on bench. You're bringing them out, start bringing them on quite often, start scoring goals. When does he become a non-academy player and a first-team player? This
is the thing. This is where it could get quite murky. Because I'd class him, even though he becomes a first-team regular. You could have first-team regulars already that are already academy prospects. Billy Sharp played for our academy for 2 years. He's an academy player. So they'd have to come up with an age cap or something, wouldn't they? So this is what I mean. It needs to be hashed out. But
yeah, that's why it's only the feeder that out there, aren't they? And obviously they're going to look more into it. I hope it's not as messed up as VAR.
Billy Sharp Academy prospect. Go on, what's your third point?
I just think it'd be better for the England national team.
Yeah.
You'll get more players coming up like Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Just basically get to play alongside the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And I just think it'll be a lot better for England.
If they get picked, because Southgate picked Tyrone Mings over Jack O'Connell. Never forget. Never forget.
That worked out well, didn't it?
Fucking Southgate. Yeah, but no, it is a good point, and that's something that we've been crying out for a while. We produce a lot of good individual players. We don't produce... We have got an impressive squad at the minute, which I will say.
Looking at our England squad, it's brilliant on paper.
Yeah, and we always seem to have a good under-21s team.
Yep.
Which maybe hasn't got the depth, because again, favourites. Would it be better for England, or would it just not make a difference because they're always just going to pick them from the same clubs? There is that bias there.
I've cried out for an England squad, basically picked from EFL. Just put them in a match against the main England side. Yeah. It's just a bit of a friendly, and I'll tell you what, it would not be as far a gap as people would think.
They used to have the England B team, didn't they? But that just became a joke of like reserve players, not even like championship players. Yeah. Bring it back.
I mean, how many championship players would love to play for England?
Yeah.
And then,
how many Premier League players who are good enough but never get called up because they don't play for Man U, Chelsea, Man City?
Southgate always picks the people in form.
Oh, does he fuck? How's Pickford in net then?
I was being sarcastic.
So those are our arguments. What are yours? First of all, in the comments, who wins? Is it Johnny or Jonno? Who had the better points? What are your opinions on it? Get on the app, get in the comments down below. Let us know. Yes or no to 2 academy players on the bench, at least. Right, Derby County. Derby County.
Your favourite team.
My favourite team. Are they doomed or not at this point? I think they're doomed.
Every week we've got a different answer.
Yeah, I think they're doomed. There's no coming back now. They're done. They're down, relegated. Forget the maths. Derby County are on a mission to League One. Rightly so. But are they, in your mind, are they down now?
No.
No.
I don't know.
Have you had a bet?
I don't know. I ain't got a clue. That's the joy of the championship.
So what I want to move on to was they've had a. What I want to go to now is obviously they've had a takeover bid, preferred bidder, accepted by their joint administrators. Probably another Mel Morris with greasy palms because that's what Derby attracts. But a bit too little, too late, isn't it, for a takeover to make any difference?
It is, but they're always going to be a bat, aren't they, Derby County? So even if they do get relegated,
I hope not. AFC Derby.
they'll soon bounce back up.
That's what I was going to come on to. Do you see them bouncing straight back?
I would, yeah.
League Two.
No. I think League One's not as strong as it used to be.
Pigs are in top 6, so obviously not.
Just looking at teams, there's about 3 or 4 decent teams in League One.
Yeah.
I think Derby would bounce straight back.
We can waffle on about Derby all we want, but there's one person who knows a hell of a lot more than we do. So let's go to our Derby fan of the week.
Hey there, everyone. It's Cory, and I'm one half of the Derby County podcast, The Rams Review, where we talk all things Derby County weekly and sometimes bi-weekly because Derby's a little bit bonkers at the moment, and there's always something going on with this club because it's an absolute crazy and slightly depressing period in our history. As you know, well-documented 21-point deduction for Derby County, which has seen us go into the relegation zone where we've been for most of the season. I think a lot of the hope for the Great Escape was on for a lot of the stretch of time, but I think games are running out. Reading's trying to pick up some points, so I think we're going to be slightly cast adrift there at the end. What I would say is, even if we did have the 21 points back, we'd obviously not be in the relegation zone. We probably would be safe right now. We wouldn't be pushing towards Premier League or anything like that. But what we would be doing was consolidating for next season, doing a rebuild. And I think for the job that this team has done, getting transfers that have been, let's just say, less than ideal, free transfers, $4,500 a week. Wayne Rooney has got the maximum out of the squad that he can. I think where we're going to fall short, if anything, is probably just on a few numbers. in terms of being able to change things a little bit. That probably has dampened us a little bit, and obviously a little bit of the cutting edge. But we know goals win football games, strikers cost money. We've not had a transfer, so had a transfer budget because we've been under an embargo. So there's only so many players that you're going to be able to get for free. So even without the points deduction, this team is a lot better than our league position. But we would just be consolidating for next season, looking ahead to next season, and trying to put this mess behind us. But with the 21-point deduction, that definitely is probably looks like it's going to send us down now. When I look at who's to blame for the troubles at Derby, and you say you hear a lot, is it Mel Morris? Is it the EFL? I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I don't think you could put the blame on one single entity or another. I'm not bought into the idea that the EFL have a conspiracy against Derby. That's not where I sit. I think Mel Morris for years has played around with the financial rules. I think we as Derby fans knew that a punishment was coming. Punishment did come. Came to the point of points deduction. I think the administration was what was surprising. We've known for over a year that he was looking for investment. We go into administration. That's an additional points deduction. And then to see how much he owed in terms of creditors, 60 odd million, 38 million pound tax bill, hadn't paid a lot of small businesses, including the ambulance service and things like that. So I think, Mel has a big part to play in this because he's outlaid 45 million something pounds in transfers, recouped nothing on certain transfers. So, the player trading has been poor at Derby for years. It's a systemically bad issue. It needs to be fixed. So I think Mel Morris, obviously he's got to hold his hands up. He's the owner. The buck stops with him. He wrote the checks. He's partly to blame for this. I think another person to blame for this is Chief Executive Stephen Pierce, who oddly is still at Derby under the administrators because he signed off on the accounts. He did the creative accounting that got Derby in this conundrum. So I think both of those have roles to play inside the club. But I don't think the EFL has covered themselves in glory either. I think the dual fixture list between Derby and Wycombe, that was an unnecessary complication that they threw out there that led to Wycombe putting these claims out that they were hard done by and things like that. So I think the EFL didn't cover themselves in glory. And I think sometimes for them putting in, hard deadlines and things like that, maybe it's to make the administrators move a bit quicker or whatever, but, threatening to revoke the golden ticket, threatening liquidation, maybe it's one way to get them done, but it also spells a bit of doom and gloom and can put potential buyers off as well. So I think that everyone shares a bit of blame, but most of the blame's got to fall on Mel Morris and Stephen Pierce because they were the ones who the buck stopped with at Derby. They were the ones who run financial, who did the creative accounting, who did the financial expenditures, living beyond your means, and the EFL as well, because they have some weird, quirky rules about finances, and they've never really been able to get the finances rules sorted out for large periods of time, which has led to a lot of this confusion and things like that. We saw earlier in the year they even changed the financial rules mid-season. Again, very strange, but I think everybody has a part to play in this saga. But life under Wayne Rooney's been absolutely fantastic. Wayne's been a breath of fresh air for this football club. I think a lot of other managers have walked away, would have took other jobs or just said, I've had enough, but he's really stuck in. He's galvanized this group of players. It's easy because there's only 23 players. But when you look at what he's had to deal with in terms of having 4 players at preseason, not being able to bring in transfers, bringing in free transfers, not being able to play certain academy players because they couldn't be registered in time. It's all a bit crazy, all a bit nuts. But Rooney's putting together a strong team. He's made it a strong system in place. He's made it very defensively solid. A lot of things go down the wing backs. Up front, we're lacking a lot in terms of final third quality and a striker that can finish. So that kind of takes whatever Wayne Rooney's trying to do and changes it slightly because you can't really see the finished product if you don't have all the pieces out on the field. But life under him's been fantastic. Life under him's been good. And I really do hope that he sticks around next season because if he can get what he can get out of this group of players on no budget, imagine if he could get a little bit of budget and bring in a few more players and build a squad and build a team in his image. I think it would be fantastic. Like I said, Wayne Rooney's a fighter. He's made this team fight. And the best thing about this Derby team is that they play for the badge on the shirt, which is something we've not seen from a Derby team for such a long period of time. And it's made me incredibly proud of this team and this squad. I think, over the last few years and with COVID, I think the fan base has really drifted away and the club has kind of really drifted away. But the one thing that's proven this season is that the fans and the club are all behind one another, that we're all kind of unified. We're all fighting for the same goal, which is the love and the future of this football club. The Derby fans put together a march to, 40, 50,000 people in the city of Derby to show the support for the club. They've done fundraising efforts called the Rams Family Fund for the Community Trust to donate money for people who are disadvantaged or might not be able to afford to go to games so that they can experience it and have these kind of things. So they do all that kind of stuff. But then when you see the team performing on the field, yes, we're in the relegation zone. But like I said in the beginning, without 21-point deduction, we'd probably be safe right now. They're fighting hard. They're working hard. You can tell that this isn't the Derby team of years gone by. It's a little low on quality. Yes. It's a little low on numbers. Yes. But they're working hard. They're playing for each other. They're playing for the badge. And they're putting the pride back into Derby County and making the club and making the fans and making the badge proud to be worn. And it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic to see. Is it too late to pull off the unthinkable? I don't know. I try to be optimistic, half glass full and all, because you never know. This is the championship. Crazy things do happen. We've seen it. We've seen bonkers things happen over the years. But I think Derby pretty much have to win the rest of their games. We've got Fulham and QPR coming up. For Fulham on Saturday, so it's going to be a tough few games. But I try to be as positive as possible. You never know what's going to happen. Derby might be able to wheel off some results and stay in. So until it's mathematically impossible, it's improbable, yes. But I'm going to say it's possible because while how improbable it is mathematically, you can still say they can still stay up. And I think the squad has just been over the years. Over this year, we've seen them score a lot of late goals. They're playing well. They've really only been outplayed one time, which is Birmingham away earlier this season. In all the games, they've been competitive in all the games. So there's no reason, no belief that says why not this group of players. So there's nothing that says that this group of players couldn't pull it off. I'm hopeful that they will pull it off. Obviously, I'm desperate for them to pull it off. But if I put on my football thinking hat, the window is slowly closing here. I think pretty much Derby have to win out. They can't afford to drop any more points. And then, we have to hope Reading lose a few more games as well. And I think going into next season, obviously we've had Chris Kirshner named as the preferred bidder. So that'll be interesting. His period of exclusivity runs out in May. As well, the same day that our funding runs out, as well as a football club. So, it'll be interesting. I don't necessarily think I can give you a prediction for next year yet because we don't know. We don't know what the finances is going to look like. We don't know if we're going to get an additional 15-point deduction this season or next season. We don't know what transfer budgets are going to be like or anything like that. And League One's a completely different kettle of fish. But right now, I think the most important thing is that we have a football club to support, and that this football club can go forward, continue to be the club that it is, continue to be there for the community and for the fan, and then use this as a defining moment, to look here and say, look, we're going to be here for the future. We're going to continue to drive on. We saw what happened with teams that have gone down to League One. Two East Midlands teams specifically with Nottingham Forest and Leicester. Leicester went down to League One. They've redone themselves, and now look at them. They're a top 10, top 6 Premier League side consistently. Nottingham Forest have been through some tough times. They've been in League One. They're now having a good season. They're third in the table. So we don't really know what it's going to look like in terms of budgets and things like that. But League One's tough. But I would hope that if Rooney stays, we can get a few transfers in. Playoffs have definitely have to be a goal. I think if you're a football fan and you're going into the opening part of the season, you're not excited, you don't think your team can win a league, you probably shouldn't be a football fan because that's the hope that kills you. And I would love to say Derby would go into League One and cakewalk it, but Peterborough is going to be down there. They're a tough League One team. You've got Sunderland down there. You've got Portsmouth down there. You've got so many different teams that are down there that are incredibly tough to deal with. Barnsley will be a different proposition if they go down. If Reading go down, they'll be a different proposition. So what I would say to Derby is if we do go down, hopefully we don't get a points deduction. Hopefully that comes this year or not at all. But playoffs, I would probably look for playoffs top 6 to be a team to kind of build for the future. I think it's imperative that this football club get up to the championship after going down to League One as quick as possible. But at the end of the day, we will have a football club to support. That's the important thing. But if you look to next season, it's definitely got to be playoffs, I think, in League One. That's not to disrespect any of the teams in League One, but I think, Derby as a football club need to get to the playoffs. They need to experience getting back to the championship at the first port of call, because if they don't, things just only get tougher from there. When you look at Sunderland, they've been down for years. They're struggling to get back up. So tough league. But most importantly, we're going to have a football club. So again, appreciate the opportunity. Thanks guys for having us on. You can catch us weekly and bi-weekly on the Rams Review podcast, on wherever you get your podcasts, and on socials, on Twitter at Rams Review 1, Facebook and Instagram at Rams Review Pod. So thanks so much. This is Cory Hancock. I'm the co-host of the Rams Review podcast. Really appreciate it. All the best for the season, and hopefully we can talk soon.
Nice, lads. Some interesting points. Shame I picked wrong team. I'm never going to like them. I just hope they go down. I hope they liquidate. Sorry, end of story. You're much more of a football romantic than I am, though, aren't you?
I've got no against them, I really hadn't.
Right, awards. Let's go. Who have we got for result of the week, Jonno?
Result of the week is got to be Huddersfield.
Yeah, good shout.
Result of the week, I mean, Luton. Imagine at the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have thought Huddersfield Luton would have been a non-game, wouldn't you?
No, you'd think it were a nothing, a mid-table scrap maybe. But we were excited for it. Monday Night Football, Huddersfield 2, Luton 0. Just, as we said earlier, it's starting to write that picture now. And it weren't a bad game to watch, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Huddersfield were a much better team.
Yeah, it weren't Liverpool, Man City, but it was still a good game to watch.
Exactly. I mean, Huddersfield and Forest are the only two teams who won in the top 8.
Yeah.
So it's a massive victory for them, and that's why they get my result of the week.
Shock of the week. Who are you going for?
I've gone for Coventry's result at Fulham.
Good shout.
Nobody would have had that in the accumulator, would they?
No, they would not. I've gone for Borough 0, Hull 1. Hull are awful, and every week. Yeah, Hull aren't a good team. I've seen them twice this season. They've been bloody awful. I've seen them a few times at telly. They've been bloody awful. We did mention about Borough maybe not having the quality that Forest have got, but I did not expect that, especially at Middlesbrough.
They'll be gutted. And they'll be looking now and thinking they're not going to make playoffs. They've still got a well of a chance. But results like that are just going to kill them.
Star of the week. I'm going to go for Steve Cooper again, 2 weeks in a row. Just look at the results Forest have got. They've got no sign of stopping. I still don't think they're the best team about. I still think it's a momentum thing rather than a quality thing at times. I don't think they're all singing, all dancing, finished article. But he's got him on a winning mentality, a winning run, and fair play to him. He's getting the best out of what he's got, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
No, I mean, it's not the team you want to play in playoffs, is it, if they don't get second spot?
Well, I don't know. We have good history against Forest in playoffs when they're on form.
Dan McNamara for Millwall.
Yes.
A nice brace against Barnsley, and they are fighting to get that 6th spot for playoffs at Millwall.
Again,
and
just like last season.
Just keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. More results like that, they'll be up there.
Div of the week.
I've gone for the Forest fans.
Ooh. Go on, strap yourself in, kids.
After Huddersfield match, the things they put on social media.
Go on.
Do you want a quote?
I want a quote.
I had to save him because I just thought, if you all meet these in playoffs...
Give me some.
Awful side, just riding on luck. I hate it. Awful football and just throw everyone behind the ball. These are all Forest fans, by the way. Fraudulent bag of shite team who have no place up there.
No place up there? Why are they there then, you friggin' idiots?
Huddersfield Town. I just couldn't watch that every week. Dull.
Have they watched their team?
You lot are absolutely gash. That's just 4 that I just thought that he just could come back to bite him on the arse. And Huddersfield, their manager should show their players exactly that from what they're going to play them, and just.
I usually don't mind Forest fans a lot of the time, but that is fucking terrible. That's awful. I might change my div of the week at this rate.
That's what I mean. I can't believe it.
How entitled and arrogant is that? That's just awful. These teams are gash. They're fucking shit. They keep winning because of momentum and mentality. They're not winning because they're a good team. We played them twice and I've not been excited about where they play.
Well, no, I don't. No rivalry Huddersfield, but Huddersfield.
If they want to start like that, I'm giving them all credit in the world because they keep winning games. But if they want to talk like that, they've got no business up there because they're not fucking brilliant. I'm squeaking again. I'm angry. Right, my div of the week. Ref against Bournemouth, Sheffield United v Bournemouth game. Absolute clown. Stopped game from even turning into a proper game. Didn't get a still one penalty, and I severely hope he gets fingered by Mr. T.
And we're salty about it.
Very salty. Saltier than Forest fans about Huddersfield winning.
Well.
Right. Standout fixtures coming up. So I've split this into Monday and Friday. Looking at Friday, we've got Luton v Forest, the mighty, invincible Forest that are better than the invincible Arsenals and all them fucking kind of shit. I'm calling it now. Forest, you've moved down where Derby are. Hate you both.
Ooh.
Hate them both. Nah, I hate fans like that.
What about Dorfwind?
Nah, fuck him. No, I hate that. Any team that's like that, I despise them.
It's only in Anf. We've got leading fans like that.
Yeah, and I hate them and all.
I think I said it about Huddersfield.
Fucking hate you. Anyway, Luton v the mighty Forest.
That's a tasty game, and now time's kick off for that one, don't we know?
I've not written them down, don't be stupid. That'd involve preparation, John. It's on Friday, that's all we know.
Yeah, we all kick off at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Luton 2, Forest 0. That'd make me a very happy man.
No, I think Luton's had a couple of bad dips, and I think Forest are going to win 2-1.
This is the Luton fight back. It begins now. It starts now, Jonno.
I'm sure you'll be wearing your shirt.
Any Luton fans that are out there, send me in a Luton shirt and I'll wear it for that game.
For that Friday game, you'll be at Bleeding Bramall Lane.
I won't. I'll be driving back from work.
Are you not coming to match Friday?
Not there.
Oh, part-timer.
I've got to drive back from Norwich. Hooray! Bournemouth versus Middlesbrough. Now, this is a game that's interesting.
It's another tough one for Bournemouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Middlesbrough want to bounce back.
Yeah.
Forest really want Middlesbrough to win.
So
does Huddersfield. I'm putting Huddersfield in there and all.
If Bournemouth win, no doubt they'll be on Twitter. Oh, awful team. No, I see Bournemouth winning this one. I just think that I think Tufty's got all they can get out of him after the cup run and after this. I think that he needs time to sort his own squad out. He had a full pre-season before League One with Sheffield United to sort of team out.
So you're tipping Middlesbrough to be a top 2 contender for next season?
I am indeed, 100%. I think they'll miss out on playoffs either by losing in the semis or not getting into them. I think the wheels have fell off a little bit, and I do think that's mostly down to what they've got available. He's not had a transfer window, has he?
No, he hasn't, and he's done well with what he's had to work with.
Yeah. And fair play to players that they've got, because they'll be playing outside of the comfort zones, new tactics in a very quick turnaround of time, going from one extreme to the other. A cup run, which they did phenomenally well in. They've run themselves into the ground a little bit, haven't they? So
it seems so.
Credit to them, but I think they did too well, if that makes sense. And they don't have the depth that Forest have had.
Well, we shall see.
Huddersfield v QPR, another one fighting for that second spot against a QPR team that has been one of the worst teams I've seen all season.
3-4, aren't they?
We've got to play them again coming up soon, so all this me saying that one of the worst teams I've seen all season, no doubt they'll bounce back and beat us now.
Well, it's kind of the same with the teams that we have lost to.
Yeah.
And just look at Stoke over a week.
Yeah.
Them teams that we've expected to get a result, but our away form is shocking. And
yeah.
They're QPR, they're 3-4, aren't they?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they got no chance at playoffs.
No, I don't see anything more than Huddersfield 3 or 4-0 in this one. I think it's going to be a big win. Not big as in like...
I wouldn't say it's going to be a big win.
I think it's going to be a big scoreline.
I think they'll scrape it, though, Huddersfield.
Oh, I think they'll stuff them. Moving on to the Monday, Middlesbrough playing again. This time against Huddersfield. This is a bigger game than the Huddersfield v QPR one.
They must have a really bad run in Borough. Another very tough game for him. And
the hit space for a few days they're playing both at teams, both 2 out of the 3 teams that are chasing the second position.
Yeah, if they do finish in the playoffs, they'll have well and truly deserved it. It's some really tough games from coming up. There's not many easy games in Championship anyway, but at this stage of the season, they're playing the wrong sort of teams.
Yeah, 100%. Nottingham Forest will want to keep marching on, obviously because they're invincible and amazing, play the best football in the division, and they'll be taking on West Bromwich Albion, Stevie Bruce.
Nice easy win for Forest then.
I don't know,
Yeah.
This is kind of game that Stevie Bruce relishes, can treat himself to a well-earned kebab after dismantling a playoff team.
Oh no, you've got to go to Hooters when you go to Forest. So I've been told. Yeah, Stevie Bruce will be in Hooters after that game, celebrating a win. I hope. Blackburn versus Stoke. Blackburn fell off well and truly. They were my team. They were my tipped team to win the playoffs at the beginning of the season. They fell away a little bit. They were doing so at one point. They were chasing second. They were.
Fell off a bit like QPR. This is their last chance to bounce back as they take on Stoke. I think if they don't win this game, I think it's bye-bye playoffs to Blackburn.
Yeah, I agree with that. Shit all bus, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams like that at the minute, where if they lose one more game, it's done for them. and maybe look at next season. But Blackburn had a brilliant season. They are a good team to watch, actually. I enjoy watching Blackburn.
I think the injuries in mid-season is just, it's just, unfortunately, it's a big blow for them, and they've not recovered.
Stoke is Stoke. Stoke will always just be Stoke. They either do brilliantly well or they just have a shit season. There's no in between with them, is there?
Yeah, unfortunately, Stoke. You just like watching them in Premier League back in the days, and they just floated about for seasons now on end. And
you couldn't have Burnley and Stoke in the same division, so Burnley took that mantle. And now Luton's coming to take Burnley's mantelpiece. Final thoughts. Obviously, it's a big Easter weekend's worth of football. After this weekend, I think we pretty much know who's going to be where.
Still, you'll not know playoffs until last game of season. That will go down to the last game of season.
You think?
Yes.
Maybe the fight for second.
The fight for second, I think, will be over in the next couple of games.
The fight for second is going to be over in the next couple of games.
Relegation could be as well.
I think it already is. The only two teams that could possibly switch places are Barnsley and Reading, but Barnsley they've lost all fight again.
Barnsley were going to get 3 points at Millwall.
Yeah, I did predict that, didn't I?
I didn't.
Did you have a bet on?
Yeah, I had Millwall in me accumulator.
Did you? Did you win your accumulator?
I won the same amount as I won on Grand National. I don't think any of my horses finished that race, by the way. So well done if anybody did pick that, especially at 50 to 1.
Please do not forget to download the Pitch Football app. The editor will put the details on how to do so on screen now. Before we go, one thing we do want to say is happy retirement to Neil Warnock. What a legend of the game.
What a legend of the game. And anybody who's had him as a manager knows what kind of character he is.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying things like, if when he dies, he wants a minutes of Warnock's a wanker. Well, just an absolute legend of the games. It might have grated on some people, but you can't not but love him.
No. I mean,
brilliant for the game.
Having a bum bag full of signed pictures to hand out to fucking fans, just stuff like that.
Yeah,
the game will be a lot duller without him in the dugouts. We forget how long he's actually been
I can't
around.
imagine referees are going to miss him.
Some will, because some like having that pantomime villain.
Possibly, but yeah.
But a lot of the up-and-coming referees might be glad to see back in him. But no, Mr. Neil Warnock, round of applause for you, mate. What a man.
Salute you.
We salute you. Make sure you're on Soccer Saturday a lot more often.
Yeah, he will be.
Did you see him watching United on? Anyway, I've been Johnny.
I've been Jonno.
Good luck at the weekend.
Happy Easter.